Hello friends, in this episode I'll be installing and reviewing another very interesting dashcam setup, the 70MAI A810S. This kit includes a 4K front camera and a 1080p rear camera, and it offers a very competitive price considering the features it offers. This time I'll be using a dedicated OBD power adapter from 70MAI so we can enable parking mode while also making the installation much quicker and easier. I'll also show you a very interesting feature that I managed to set up using the 70MAI mobile app, which I'm sure you're going to like. In the description you'll also find another video where I installed the premium 70MAI T800 model, so feel free to check that one out as well. Alright, that's enough for the intro, let's get started. As I mentioned in the intro, here we have the A810S model. 70MAI also has an A810 model, so I thought it would be useful to present the differences between the two products. We have a newer rear camera, improved night recording thanks to Lumi Vision, support for up to a 512GB storage card, a more capable battery, and Wi-Fi 6, which makes downloading and previewing footage from the card on your smartphone much faster. This is the box in which the product comes. 70MAI also sent me this polarizing filter, which reduces reflections in strong light conditions and helps with reading license plates, plus a hardwire kit to power the camera. I already have tutorials showing how to hardwire a dash cam if you want to install such a kit to the fuse panel, so this time I decided to show you the installation using power from the OBD port, which in my opinion is much simpler. Of course, it does not come with all the features offered by the 4G kit. In the box we find spare double-sided adhesive strips, one for each camera, 2 stickers to notify passers-by that they are being recorded or to discourage break-ins, a user manual for the rear camera, a user manual for the entire kit, and adhesive films if you want to mount the cameras on top of them. This allows for quicker removal when you want to move them. A 128GB microSD card, and a card with contact details. Then we have of course the main unit, the front camera. On the left side we have a power button, a status LED and a microphone hole, because we also have ambient audio recording. On the right side we have a Type-C port for the rear camera, another one for power, and a slot for the microSD card. And this is the front side with the vertically adjustable camera lens. This is the rear camera, also vertically adjustable, and it is powered directly from the front camera. Here we have a plastic mounting bracket in which the camera slides in from top to bottom, so it's important to leave a little space to the headliner. We have the rear camera power cable, which is long enough even for station wagons, a cable for cigarette lighter power, and the cigarette lighter adapter with one USB-A port for the camera and one Type-C port in case you want to charge another device. The optional 70MAI 4G kit connects the dashcam to the internet using a SIM card. This allows you to remotely watch the live camera feed, receive instant alerts if something happens to your car, track the vehicle location, and enable full 24-hour parking surveillance. That's pretty much everything you find in the camera kit. Let's go to the car to install the cameras. This is the 70MAI OBD adapter. I will leave links in the description for each of the products shown in this video. It also has a module that can cut the power if the voltage drops below a certain threshold, which you can set using this dip switch. Here are the possible configurations. First, I'll test the module to make sure it works before installing it. While we're here, I thought I'd also show you the settings available for this camera. After we install the rear camera, a few additional settings will appear, and I'll show you those to you as well a bit later. We have of course the video resolution for the front camera up to 4K. Then we have recording duration, which I set on all cameras to 3 minutes. Whether you want the 70MAI logo to appear in the footage, speed watermark, coordinates watermark, anti-flicker, meaning the camera synchronizes the shutter speed with the electrical grid frequency in your region to eliminate flickering, and allow remote live, but I guess that only works with the 4G adapter. Then we have parking settings. From here you can set the duration of the parking mode. We can leave it at 24 hours because the OBD adapter will cut the power if the voltage drops too much. We also have collision detection with adjustable sensitivity and whether you want it to start immediately when the engine stops or later. We can also enable and adjust the sensitivity for motion detection, which I always leave on medium. In Smart Travel, you can activate automatic emergency video locking if the camera detects an incident in traffic. Then you have ADAS, but keep in mind that for these ADAS functions, the camera must be placed in the center of the windshield. And we also have voice control. In sound settings, there are not too many things to configure. And we also have system settings with options for Wi-Fi, how you want the screensaver to appear, auto off when parking, system time, system language, speed unit, position status, download app, format card, and restore factory settings. And that's basically the entire menu. Let's move on to the actual installation. First, I will guide the power cable through the side opening of the dashboard. Then I'll route it under the door seal, under the A-pillar trim, and then above the headliner until the final location of the camera. Of course, a lot depends on the car model. If you have a curtain airbag under this A-pillar trim, it is recommended to route the cable behind it. This car does not have one, so everything went much faster. Then I unclipped the mirror housing because I wanted the camera to be placed exactly in the center of the windshield so it doesn't obstruct the driver's visibility and also for the ADAS functions. And this is the rear camera cable which we need to route all the way to the tailgate. I fixed the dip switch module with double-sided tape right next to the fuse box in case the owner ever needs to change the settings. And here is the final position of the camera. I made a small opening using a rotary tool in the mirror housing and both cables come out exactly in front of the Type-C ports. I would say this is a very clean and professional installation for a universal dashcam. Now let's install the rear camera. I routed the cable again above the headliner to the A-pillar trim, then under it, and then under the passenger door seal to the B-pillar trim. Then I guided the cable under the B-pillar trim and again under the door seal to the C-pillar. After going under the C-pillar trim, I routed the cable down and under this trim until the rear of the car. I reached the rear of the car, and because this vehicle does not have a tailgate trim and the metal reinforcement has no holes, I had to route the rear camera cable directly from under the seal. On most cars, I would be able to route the cable through this rubber boot under the trim, and then there would be plenty of holes in the metal frame to guide the cable hidden all the way to the top of the rear window. I also mounted the rear camera. You don't need to worry about the orientation when installing it because from the camera menu you can flip or mirror the image. And now we also have the rear camera active. I downloaded the 70MAI app directly from the Play Store, and of course you can also find it in the App Store. To connect to the camera, activate Wi-Fi and connect to the camera's network. The default password is 12345678. Then activate Bluetooth, and now you have access to Live View, the album with the recordings stored on the card, and settings. From here you can switch between cameras, front and rear. You can also go full screen, and again switch cameras. You can also take a capture. As I mentioned earlier, if the rear camera is installed incorrectly, you can flip or mirror the image. Accessing the album will stop the recording, and here you have all the recordings grouped together. You can of course preview the recordings directly on your phone, but at a lower resolution, or you can download them to watch them at maximum resolution. In the app you'll find all the settings that I showed you directly in the camera menu, but what's great is that the app also explains how the functions work. For example, here we have an explanation of the auto off when parking function, which is meant for cars where the cigarette lighter is permanently powered even without ignition. We also have here the geolocation status with satellite connection. Even though the 70MAI app is optimized for smartphones running Android or iOS, I noticed that it also works on an AI box used in cars that have factory CarPlay. How cool is that? Now I'll let you analyze the dashcam footage in both daytime and nighttime conditions, after which we'll meet again and I'll tell you my completely honest opinion about this camera. Alright friends, that was the dashcam footage. As you could see, 70MAI continues to maintain its reputation for making solid dashcams. The footage from the rear camera is not spectacular, but we are still talking about a 1080p camera filming through a tinted rear window. The front camera, however, performs excellent even in low light conditions. At night, thanks to Lumi Vision and a very good HDR, you can actually distinguish license plates even while driving. Most dashcams struggle at night, especially when headlights shine directly onto the license plates, but in this case that was not a problem. Another important aspect is of course the price, as this model is currently selling for around $140, which is very competitive considering the features it offers. You can find all the links in the description if you are interested. That's it for this episode. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe and leave a comment to support the work that goes into making these videos. Bye bye.